Live on the Metal
There you
Voice. We're
go.
back. We're
The
back.
long-awaited 1995.
Todd,
Yeah,
it's been 3 months or 4 months since 1994. Todd, you
really?
there?
Yeah. I was processing that.
Okay, it's all right. Goes by
So
fast.
that's
You
the
go on
last time.
tour, we stop. You come back on tour from tour, we start again. So,
I appreciate the contingency.
because what happened was me and Alan started this off, right, Alan? And then during COVID, we kind of added you on, right?
Yeah.
And ever since, it's now part of the legacy
like-
of these shows.
It's like, hey, we can't do it until everyone's schedule is
That's right.
it's groovy. Hey, it's a thing. It's become a
That's a
thing.
thing.
And
It's a
it's
thing.
awesome.
That's right.
Let's find out what's happening in Todd's world. Here's your chance to tell us all about your exciting life now.
Okay. Well, I don't. Geez, it's been 3-4 months. So within that time, we did a headline tour for the new record, the Queensrÿche record, and that was like 6.5 weeks or so.
So what's
And
the
then
response? What's the feedback?
it's been great. We played a lot of new stuff. Probably, I don't know, 40%, maybe 50%. It was a lot of newer stuff in my era with the band. We broke out some super deep classics. We did Deliverance, we did Roads to Madness, Child of Fire.
Road to Madness. That's great.
Yep. So we've been doing that. Then we were home for 9 days, and then we went on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and that destroyed my voice because it's a 5-day meet and greet essentially. And so I came home, and then I
recording
went.
the new Barry White album.
Yeah, can't get enough of your love, babe. And then I flew to LA and attended the Armored Saint documentary movie. So that was really cool. Got to hang out with those guys, and they didn't even know I was coming. I didn't say anything. And so we did that, hung out in LA for, I don't know, 4 days or whatever it was, and then flew home. And my voice has still been like messed up since this actually sounds good. In the show, it may be gone. I don't know, but we have a show in Oklahoma this Saturday, so I fly out Friday. But other than that, the short version is the band has one-offs for the rest of the year, some fly dates, and then we have next year we have a couple cruises we're doing back to back, and then we are going to be doing a tour, a ground tour, which will be a very special thing that's happening that I can't divulge at this point in time, but it'll be a unique, very cool, special tour that we're going to do. And I'm writing my second solo record every day.
Hey, look at that.
Every
You might be announcing that, yeah.
Every day I'm picking up my guitar. I got this really cool little 30-watt Boss Katana Air amp, and I have like one of my guitars next to the couch here. And instead of going into the studio and hooking everything up, when I have an idea in my head, I grab the computer, grab my phone, record it. And so I've got a bunch of ideas. Craig's working on ideas. So lots of stuff with that. And, next year's going to be a really busy year.
If you need any lyrical ideas like
we'll send you ours.
Me and Alan, rope, soap, dope, we got them all. We got all the rhymes. Me and Alan could bust the beat.
That's good. Yeah, I might need help. But right now I'm in like a super creative musical
mood. It on, right?
Dude, so I can't turn it on and off. So when it happens, I'm like, I got to capture it now, because the next day or 2 days I'll go into my recordings on my phone and I'll be like, oh my God, I totally forgot I did that. Like I came up with that idea, because you don't remember them. When you're constantly having ideas in your head, you're on to the next thing. And so I've been doing that, and haven't seen the band since the cruise. Haven't really talked to anybody because we're just, we were out for a couple months. And I'm here with you guys now. So, Good shirt, by the way.
Aldo Nova said, he's sleeping in the middle of the night, and then at 4 a.m. he gets up and he just runs to the studio and he starts jamming because
ideas
it's flowing, right?
Dude, you gotta
capture it. Right?
You gotta capture it. But it's funny because I'll hear certain things and I'm like, oh, maybe I want to write something really heavy like that. But all the ideas that are coming to me are not like crazy heavy thrashy stuff. It's more atmospheric and spacious. It's still rock and kind of metal, but I'm having a really good time just in this creative environment that my headspace is in right now. So hopefully I can get a record written by the end of the year and recorded and maybe a release next year. I'd like to just keep plugging away at it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good news.
Right.
Good news. All right.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
And you could pick up the first Todd Torre soul album, and it's released on vinyl, limited edition. You still have few left?
So the white vinyl, I think that the label Joe at Rat Pack, he probably might have some. I don't know. And then of course I did 2 limited vinyls in Europe. There's a red and white kind of splattery blood splatter, and then there's a red. And so those are super. There was only 200 and 300. I can't remember which one had the 2 or 300, but that was through Rock of Angels Records that we did a deal with them for Europe. So people can go to Rock of Angels or Roar on Facebook, and they have all their links and stuff. But that's pretty much it, man. Just really kind of enjoying these pockets of time at home, because we don't have that many shows for the rest of the year, like 20 something. So it's, home for a week or 2 weeks and then fly out, then home for another 5 days and out, then home for 2 or 3 weeks. So try to get a lot done in those gaps.
All right. And that's a good segue into the top 10 albums of 1995.
Although discretionary to say top, some of them are top, but the top that we could come up with, and surely there are people out there watching that are going to go, what the fuck? Why did you mention this band or this band? And sorry, like
Alan, please advise Todd. Our list is the only list, and there's no other list that matters. Please advise Todd.
Hey, no, here's my advice. You put in the legwork for years and years, create your own show. You can have your list, and then we can sit back and go, dude, you didn't come up with this record. So we would love to hear your list on your show. But right now, this is the metal that matters.
That's right.
The only list that matters. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, well, to say it's our list is strong there, I think Jimmy did a good job.
Jimmy made the list.
Hey, Alan, what? Usually we have this back and forth of Alan adds his, you add yours. I'm kind of like the middleman here and sort of synchronizing everything. And I send Alan what Todd wrote, and Alan went back and forth. This time nobody wrote me back.
You were like, we're gonna do the albums in '95. I'm like, were there? Yeah, okay,
like, good list, Jim.
Run that list by me, and I'll review them, and we'll do the show.
Alan, what should I put as number 2? Whatever you want, Jim.
We're not. We don't have the choice that we did. Let's say in '87. So
the pool of records in those other years are just so vast, and it's like that's when we have good arguments, right? This is just like, it was hard to come up with something that we were like, yeah, I mean, there's some stuff in there we totally like stand behind, but there's some other, it's just hard to. Here's what it was for me. I don't remember anything that really blew me away in '95. Doesn't mean there weren't records that were great, sure. But at that point in time, I mean, I don't even think I was listening to a lot of stuff. I think I just kind of packed my drums away, was very uninspired by what was going on with that music. And I was listening to Al Di Meola and Struns and Farah and Flamenco stuff and like old school Slayer and just like all the cool.
That's so interesting that you mentioned that, because in 1995, I would say the same thing. I stopped listening for metal a little bit, not completely. but I started changing in what I liked because the big machine out there was telling us on the radio and in the albums and what it was available. There wasn't anything available. You really had to dig. It literally went underground.
So listening to this list today, I listed all the albums. Man, people were angry in '95. That's what I took away from all these albums. That's
Yeah.
the one constant thread amongst them is
Dark.
people are really angry and aggressive on this list. So
Yeah, it was more aggressive for sure. Some darkness.
darkness, that's a good
You
word.
know, yeah, but darkness, not wearing cardigans and looking like Mr. Rogers on acid.
But if we go back to 1995, what it was, there was a recession, a global recession, probably worse probably in Canada than it was elsewhere. But times were tough. People were trying to look for jobs. You know, it was depressing times. And and then metal was sort of like way out of the picture. All the bands got fired from the labels or let go. Hair metal was vanished. But Germany, on the other hand, there was something boiling in Germany. Germany metal bands were like Saxon. They were going to Germany. They were touring Germany. Everybody was going to Germany, and bands were sort of still inspired to write metal music. And then new genres were appearing, right? Altogether.
Yeah, new metal,
industrial.
But you know, at that point in time, like all of that derivative, regurgitated glam stuff needed to go away.
Cleanse.
Like shit needed to happen, and
yeah.
So you know, that's kind of
the great metal cleanse. The great metal cleanse. That's what happened. And you know what? People blamed hair metal, but you know what? I think people had enough. And you know what?
Well, it wasn't. It had, in my opinion, it became stale and again just derivative. There was nothing. That's how I feel about a lot of metal today. I love metal. Don't be like, oh, he's bagging on metal. Everybody knows I like heavy metal and different kinds. But when I put on satellite radio, I kind of don't want to say a channel's name, but they don't give me any love anyway, so I really don't give a shit. But when I put on, you know, the metal dude, everybody, I've said it 1,000 times, there's no real great singers anymore that you're hearing on these mediums. Everybody's screaming, everybody's down-tuned, all the drum sound the same. There's no great memorable. I don't walk away humming a melody. It's just all about how brutal and scary and whatever everybody can be. And it just, there's nothing. Geezer Butler, was it Geezer? Geezer Butler was interviewed, I think, for the new Dio documentary. Mm-hmm. And he was asked about metal. I think I had seen like a Q&A he did. And he was asked about what he thought about metal today. And he was like, I don't hear any real, like, it doesn't sound, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the effect of, I'm not hearing anything new sounding or inspiring sounding or musical sounding. It's like, you can be heavy and still be musical and have space. And so what was happening with that whole LA, the glam, that whole glam thing, it just had run its course and everybody sounded the same. And to me, a lot of metal just kind of sounds that way to me. There are those other bands that poke out, but generally speaking, yeah, sometimes that cleansing needs to happen and then something fresh comes and you're like, wow, check this out. And then it's inspiring. So I was listening to other things just to feel some sort of inspiration musically because it was just so boring.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, Pat, with his Greek words, Alan Zimi, Todd Tikanete. How are you? All right.
See.
Good.
Hello.
That's what on Alan's tombstone it's gonna say.
That's what he says. All right, number 10. Let's start this list. We got to go through the list. Number 10. Alan, I'll let you.
I put down the Fear Factory Demanufacture. Because
there it is.
You know, we can't go with all these old guys. Jimmy loves grabbing the old guys. I'm surprised King Diamond, maybe it will make the list. I don't know. Well, but you know, we got to get some of the new bands, and I remember that they were quite popular at the time. I mean, Grit versus Technology, Man versus Machine Sound. They had their own thing happening, so I decided to put them on.
All right. Good. You know what, Alan? I think it's a good choice. I put the first 3 songs on. I go, this is not for me, but it's for someone out there. And considering this album, when you look up, where's the book, Alan? Where's the book?
I got it. I got the Bible.
Right, let's take a look at where this album lands.
Take a guess. You're never going to believe it.
Number 354. Todd, give me a number.
What is it? Top 500?
Top 500.
I like Fear Factory, but I don't know. I'm gonna say in the 400s.
Number 81 out of 500.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, the reason why
Led Zeppelin of the 90s.
The reason why I put that so low is I'm looking at the landscape of. We're not talking about the band. We're talking about the record, right?
Yeah.
That's way higher than I ever would have imagined. And I'm not
look, I couldn't get past song 3, but you know what? I'm kind of looking past me, and I'm thinking about what the time was and what music people were interested in. And it was, to your point, Todd, it was something refreshing in a sense, right?
It was something different, and
it was something different. Yeah.
And those guys are kind of known for pioneering or creating that sound where, again, you've got the kick drums and the guitars all in unison. That kind of sound. They kind of are noted as starting that type of sound for what their band sounds like. So, and they're still out there doing their thing. And I would say among all of the other stuff that was out there in '95, probably was refreshing. I had a Fear Factory CD in my vehicle around, probably around 96 or 7. I don't know which record it was, but yeah, it was something different from everything else I was hearing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. I have nothing further to add.
I don't either.
And I think our list consists of sales, what was popular, and critically acclaimed. That's
your list.
That's the criteria. Well, that's kind of everybody. That's what a top 10 list is, right? Critically acclaimed, something that's aged very well over the years, something that did well at the time, and something that represents that era, right? And I think those are the things that we're looking at, or I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Well, you're not looking at it. Someone's got to look at it. All right, here we go. Alan?
All right, the next one at number 9.
Let me get the graphics up. Here we go.
I came up with New Orleans-based Down, and the album's NOLA. I mean, this is groove ad infinitum. I mean, this is the grooviest thing, I think, on the list. I was a fan of Hell Yeah years later, and I think this falls into that same kind of groove, infectious, and again, aggressive, really dark and aggressive. But I was surprised. I'm glad we're doing these lists. Here's a band I didn't really hear of, and I really like this album. So
yeah, I mean,
they were had that dirty raw sound, and of course, with Phil, I mean, in '95, with Pantera was huge. You were like, wow, what is this Pantera singer doing in a like a side band or another band? And people were curious to hear what it was about. Definitely had that sludgy, raw kind of.
This was an extension to Pantera. That's how I always looked at it. Like, it's just an extension of that style.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It had that
Southern rock.
It had the Southern metal thing still in there. Yeah, kind of raw and dirty. Yeah.
Again, not something that I gravitated towards, but people love this album. When you ask people, what is your favorite album in 1995? This one always seems to come up. So you got to listen to the fans, right? You got to listen to the fans. And it did okay sales-wise. So it didn't.
And we go back to the Bible.
Where's the Bible?
This album made the top 500.
Whoa. I'm guessing 436.
That's pretty good.
Alan, don't tell me 72 here.
203.
Wow. I'm really curious what's in the 400s.
Yeah.
Rattle one off in the 400s.
Just what, Alan?
Just to compare.
402.
400. Helmet, Meantime.
There you go.
Sounds right.
Swan Song, Carcass.
There you go. Those are
Okay.
400. We call those 400 bands.
There you go. All right, so we're at number 8.
All right, let me get the graphics. Oh, I think I made a little change here.
Oh,
I didn't advise you guys.
that's Jim.
So,
That's
well,
Jim.
well, then you need to introduce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So number 8, this is an album that, if the screen is blank right now, I will show a graphic. This is an album that, even though at the time was upsetting to some of these fans, but over time, people have grown to love this, appreciate this replacement singer. It was Blaze Bayley. It was the X Factor of Iron Maiden. Released when Iron Maiden was sort of like their, what was it? Fear of the Dark. No, it's No Prayer, Fear of the Dark, and then this album, right? And you know what? Things were tough for Iron Maiden. There's a band that everybody loves. This is like the epitome of heavy metal. But suddenly something just went completely wrong. However, over the years, people have gone to appreciate this album. A lot of these songs have made the set list in these last few years, like Sign of the Cross,
Falling Down.
Falling Down, and the butterfly one there, the Lord of the Rings. No, Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies.
Those are the songs that are in the set list, and Bruce is singing them, and he's brought new life to these songs. Sure, it was a muddy production. Sure, it was a little more darker, less heavy metal, but you know what? It stood the test of time. The song stood the test of time. Could have been shorter, yes. Maybe it would have been higher on the list if it was shorter, more punchier, a little bit better production, but you know what? Back to it stood the test of time. Guys?
I'll let Todd go.
All right. You're not, every band isn't going to make an outstanding record every time. You're going to have some things that are like, it's a good record. But when you're trying to compare it to, Peace of Mind or, Power Slave or Seventh Son or Killers or what, there's some that are just going to not hold up the same. But they kept doing it. They kept making records. And, big ass shoes to fill if you're Blaze Bayley not that I would know what that's like, but I could only imagine that's probably not an easy feat. And but I love those two songs that you mentioned, and I have heard Sign of the Cross and Falling Down. I've heard Bruce sing those songs, and he's a very charismatic, projecting singer. Blaze is a great singer. What are you going to do? They were still out there doing what they were doing. And for us metal fans and Iron Maiden fans, we were grasping and desperate for something from a band like this. And I think among the landscape of what was out there, you hear that and you're like, okay, maybe it's not mind blowing, but cool. I got something new from Iron Maiden, and that was like going to hold us over.
I don't think it's as bad as people remember if you go but take the time to listen to it.
Yeah.
But then again, we started listening to Maiden in the early 80s, and now we're talking 1995. So there's a whole other generation that this might have been their introduction to Iron Maiden with this album.
Look, there's people that all have learned of me in Queensrÿche from a record that I did. And it's like, oh my gosh, you need to go back and listen to The Warning and Rage and like all these other records. Like, so yeah, there's so much other great stuff before the new guy comes in that, but hey, if Iron Maiden still brought in younger, newer fans and that was the singer that did it, they still got somebody else to check the band out. So
I always say this. I always say that Steve Harris was writing with Bruce Dickinson's voice, but he had Blaze Bayley's voice. And that's probably the biggest mistake. When you're writing for this sort of high tenor-ish kind of voice and you have a baritone voice, that's where the disconnect is. And if you really listen carefully, they should have sort of tuned down a little bit more, perhaps, just to sort of fit more, or, in another key, which is more fitting for his voice. If you look at Number of the Beast, that kind of was written with Paul Di'Anno's voice, because he was in the band for 3 years before then, right? So you would think the songwriter's always thinking of the voice. Whereas this case, they should have written it with Blaise's voice and it would have been a masterpiece. Because Blaise has got some incredible solo albums. Well, that's my takeaway.
But when you have a singer and a sound, I would imagine Steve is just going to write with that in his mind anyway. You're
right with the voice. You write with the voice and the range in your head, right? When you're writing songs. So
yeah, you have like an idea of a maybe a melody or how that vocal approach is going to happen. And when you have this operatic kind of power singer, I would have to think that when you're crafting songs, that's in the forefront of your mind. And then, Blaise just has to try to deliver the best he can.
Yeah, and he told us that he wished, when he played the shows and he was playing the songs from Bruce Dickinson era, he wished they would have sort of like brought it down to another key or tuned it down to fit more his voice, because he was kind of out of his reach in that range, that sort of those higher notes that he couldn't reach. So it didn't sound as great live, and that kind of didn't help the situation either, added pressure to the band. However, saying that, Sign of the Cross, Lord of the Flies, Man on the Edge, Blood on the World's Hands, Fortune of War, Look for the Truth and Judgment of Heaven. Fantastic songs. And you know what? You could put them on today, and like Alan said, you could appreciate them more today. More of a prog rock album, in a sense. Guys?
So did you swap number seven and 8?
Yes, I did. So you know it's coming.
Right.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Thanks for the heads up.
I just told you.
Go ahead. We're good at number 7.
All right, now that's number 7. You know what's coming though, right? All right, let me just get it ready. It's a lot of work behind the scenes that I do here. Okay, number 7. You ready? Alan, you want to do an intro to this, or here it is? Anthrax Stomp 442. Is it 442? Or is it 422? 442. Alan, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to get newer bands and not going back to a lot of the older bands. These are some of their weaker albums. I think this is personally one of Anthrax's most difficult listens for myself. You got John Bush, who still sings unbelievable to this very day. And you got music that he's supposed to sing to, sounds maybe Henry Rollins should have done this album, It's like you've got this Pavarotti and you're putting him with this really harsh, and again, aggressive and dark.
Very harsh.
Almost, I don't know what to even describe the first couple of songs. I mean, just really
it's
aggressive
very
machines,
dirty.
I guess I would call it.
It's super dirty sounding. It's like really gritty and dirty and harsh almost.
Yeah. And you've got John Bush. John Bush. Let him go, man. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know what you guys are listening to. Like, I'm listening to an album that's gritty, dirty, but John Bush is delivering. It suits his style, man. This is metal, man. This is metal with a mix a bit of that southern rock maybe that you hear in Pantera there.
He's a way more melodic singer than what that was giving him musically, in my opinion. If you listen to Armored Saint, dude, there's space. It's heavy, but in a totally different way. This was just very like percussive, and it just maybe I don't know. It just called for a different vocal delivery. And of course, we all love John. He's a killer singer, but I'm not really a
guys. I'm not hearing what you're hearing.
It's percussive. That's a good word. This whole album's percussive. And we all love Shirley Benanti, I'm sure, but it just, man, there's no variation.
Oh, Jesus, you guys.
It just hits you hard.
What do you mean? Like the first 4 songs are hitting you hard, but they're melodic.
When you listen to
and it's a perfect, it's a great album. Like
it's not perfect. When you listen to the Sound of White Noise and then you listen to this, they're not even in the same sphere, dude.
Oh, man, you guys. I mean, I could tell you right now. I'm going to tell you. Random Acts of Senseless Violence.
Maybe it's the
incredible song. Maybe it's King Size Riding Shotgun. And, there's even a little bit of Pearl Jam sort of at the end there. But bottom line is, I think this is such an underrated album. Yes, Todd, you?
Maybe it's just the sonic the sounds of the songs and how they're recorded and the mixing and all that. It just sounds shrill and harsh and gritty and dirty. And maybe if it had a different production, those songs would translate different to me. I don't think it's awful by any means. I'm just saying it's after 2 songs, I don't know that I want to hear anymore. It's like kind of fatiguing to me.
Yeah, I felt the same way when it was released. I felt the exact same way. But over the years, as I've listened to it,
could be.
I go, you know what? This is really a good album, and they really went out of the box and
super aggressive. It's again, I'm not saying it's bad.
No.
But when you I just think that he shined way more on the other album that I said.
Sound of White Noise is a masterpiece.
There you go.
For that, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's hard to beat that album, but let me tell you, I think Stomp is a great album. That's just me. I just think it's.
So just to recap, neither X Factor and Iron Maiden nor this album made the top 500.
Wow, it should have been at least 107. No, or is it a 400? It's not even a 400, is it?
It's not even a 500.
It's not even a 400.
What are you not understanding? It's not even a 500.
It's not in the book?
Just no, it's not in the book. Bruce Dickinson, he said that this album cover was supposed to be on Balls to Picasso. That was supposed to be the album cover for that, but that didn't work out. So. And
Walmart banned it, it says, because it was a naked guy on the cover.
Little Indian guy there, the little native.
Well, there goes Hemispheres from Russia, I guess.
Well, and Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy, right?
Or what was the Scorpions album with the
all of them.
Oh, Virgin Killer, yeah.
Name one.
Love Drive.
Like a 12-year-old girl on the cover or something like that.
Yeah. That was like the worst one.
My God.
How can you even release something like that? But anyways.
Who's the photographer? Lock that guy up.
Yeah. It was banned everywhere except for maybe 2 countries.
Maybe
strange enough, I'll tell you a real story. I bought it when I was 15.
Yeah, I remember it used to be available, and then they switched to just the generic photo of the band. So,
but now I won't.
Well, at 15, a 15-year-old looked okay to you. At 50, a 15-year-old, not so much.
Yeah, it's not great. They should have never done that. That's terrible.
All right, let's get to number 6 there.
All right, here we go. What are we at? 6? Okie doke. Number.
Hold on, I got to grab my charger here.
Okie doke. All right, ready, Alan? It's still the same number 6, by the way. It's still the same number 6. All right, go. Boom. I put up the graphic. Go. It's White Zombie, Astro Creep, 2000.
Yep, that's what it is. Number 6.
Number 6. Todd, you want to weigh in on White Zombie there? Look, I think there's this whole new genre and this industrial groove and I love that about the band, right? White Zombie, Rob Zombie. It's just I find that when I listen to the whole album, or I listen to a lot of their albums, it just seems to be that same sort of groove over and over again. Not to say the guy isn't a genius. The guy is smart. He's got some great friggin' grooves and music, and it's interesting and it's refreshing. But it just seems like it's a little more repetitive.
But wait till you get to number 2.
It's very palatable and commercial with that aggressive sensibility. And he has pretty much just writes for that hook, right? So More Human Than Human, that was on that record, right? Massive hit. That record also was the only record with John Tempesta on drums. He plays for the Cult. He played with Testament also, I think, or was it Slayer?
Don't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just ran into him at that documentary, by the way. Cool, he was 2 rows behind me, and here we are talking about him. But yeah, he, I mean, they were huge. White Zombie was massive. Massive.
2.6 million copies in the U.S. alone.
And I think it charted number 6. Let me see.
Yeah.
See if
Industrial
you can.
Groove Metal. Yeah, something like that. Look, they were picking up the pieces of whatever was left in the metal world, right?
For me, listening to this album, it fits in perfectly in 1995. It's a perfect 1995 album. If you look at the overall list and other things that were released.
Absolutely.
It's of its time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200, and it had More Human Than Human, Supercharger Heaven. So yeah, again, with everything that was going on in 95, he had this interesting look. He had this different sound that was had a dance sensibility to it too, but it was like kind of had that aggressive, like a rock. I don't want to say metal, but it had that heaviness to it. But I mean, he was cutting through everything. He was, massive with White Zombie.
Yeah.
Big band.
And on a lot of metal tours too.
One of the few albums on our list that made the top 500.
Yep.
Was this one?
And where is it?
I'm gonna say that's pretty. I'm gonna say that's pretty high.
65. I'm thinking it's a 65er.
I'm
gonna go in the 40s.
210.
Oh, we're always wrong.
Damn, you guys are off today.
It's 1995. That whole year was off.
Yeah, that's right. So before we get to the other ones, Fear Factory was the highest rated album, coming in at 81 in this list. So
wow.
The other ones, we'll see what else we come up with that might have made the top 500. So
interesting.
This is a very, very, very tough year. But look at this. Even though the year was tough for hard rock metal, White Zombie pulled something out of his ass and he got sold 2.6 million copies.
Good for him.
That says something. Yeah, that says something. Genre defining, we can say, right? So, and an album people still love today, right? He's still filling up seats, right? I don't know if he's playing. Is he playing arenas? I think he's playing arenas, right? Rob Zombie. He must be playing arenas, or at least large theaters.
He plays big shows. Let's read some comments.
All right, we haven't read any comments, have we?
No.
Before we get to the top 5, we're reaching out to the comments. We're coming right back at you at the top 5 here on the Metal Voice.
Julie's saying
Todd
it was a pretty
Torre, Mr. TLT himself.
Julie's saying it was a pretty uninspiring decade to be sure, but still standing today, and grunge is dead. I didn't hate grunge. I know everybody hates me for saying this, but I did like Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana back then. I didn't hate them. I just thought it was it's a back to the punk rock roots, stripping it down, right? Peeling off the makeup and just getting, putting on your jeans and playing rock. I kind of like that.
I liked some Pearl Jam, the first Pearl Jam record, a lot.
Yeah.
And I liked
Soundgarden.
And I liked Alice in Chains. Those were the two bands. Soundgarden, I never really got into. I never got into Stone Temple Pilots. So a lot of that stuff. Never got into Nirvana. Never liked it. To this day,
Nirvana either.
No, can't get into it.
You can add Alice in Chains to that list for me.
I like
Nirvana. Nevermind was a great album. To this day, it holds up. I don't know why people get so mad about it.
I'm not mad.
No, not you personally. I'm just saying in general, the world. They're so mad. They're so angry. It's a great album. It's got hooks. It's got everything. It's memorable.
Let's get to the top 5. Our suspense is killing me.
Okay, we're supposed to. Look at Alan. What's in that friggin' bottle that you're drinking?
The difference is Jimmy's got somebody making him supper. I got to make my own here.
All right. Well, no one. Linda tells me, Jimmy, make your own supper.
Okay.
She's already eating. I could smell the food from the microwave. Reheating. Okay, here we go. What's next?
I'll do it.
Okay, let's see.
One of my all-time favorite bands, although this is not one of my all-time favorite records at all. I own it. I don't play it. Savatage, Dead Winter Dead. Yeah. I love Savatage, but this record to me, I mean, it's a concept record, which is cool. The compositions are like, you have to be in the right headspace to just listen to this, because there's some really deep compositions. There's a lot of orchestration. It's for me, it's like kind of a slow record. There's like a lot of ballads and sad and like moody stuff, but if you want to just put on like a rocker, like this is not that record. It's way different, so you have to be in a different headspace. But among all the Sabotage records, this and like, what's the other one? Handful of Rain or something? I don't know. It just doesn't hold up to
Saucer Full of Secrets.
Like, Edge of Thorns, or Hollow the Mountain King, and like stuff like that. It's great in its own way, but for me, it just, I don't know. I kind of get lost. Like, it lose my attention, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I kind of.
You have to be in the right headspace.
I agree. You do have to be in the right headspace. There's a lot of symphonic stuff going on.
Yeah, symphonic.
A lot of moody, dynamic stuff going on. It's a concept album, and I think it's a very touching concept album. This Bosnian war, and it's a girl, a Serb boy and a Bosnian girl who sort of get together. And think of the time, right? They had the Olympics, or I think it was the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, and it was the country was united and everybody was happy. And then suddenly the Olympics were over, and everybody started just killing each other in the streets after Yugoslavia collapsed. So, and then you always have those two people from the two sides of the argument sort of in love. So I think it's a really interesting story, and it's a piece of history, and I think it was done right. And it's not a metal album. It's not you're not going to drive your car at I can't drive at 55 here, but
right.
You're driving 30 in a school zone. You know what I'm saying?
Blindfolded. It's very there's a lot into the songwriting. There's a lot going on there. So the construction of the songs, the writing itself, writing all the orchestrations, like there's a lot of talent and a lot of stuff going on in the record. As a whole thing, it just, for me, when I'm doing stuff around the house or I got in the garage working on things and I crank up a Sabotage record, I never play that record. It just, again, maybe if you were doing like a long drive and it was the evening time and you're really in that space, then great. But if I just want to put on a great rock and metal record, that just, again, because it's so deep and has all those things you talked about, for me, it's not quite the go-to record for me.
Fair enough. I get your feedback, Todd, on his vocals and his performance and his style, you could say.
It's Zach, right? It's not. That's when they switch singers too, right? It's not Zach Wilde.
You're talking about Zach. You're talking about Zach Stevens.
Zach Stevens, that's right. He took over for John on the vocals, so he was having some vocal issues at the time, so he kind of just let Zach Stevens take over.
He did lead vocals on a couple songs, but yeah, he ended up kind of backing away, and Zach was, basically the lead vocalist for the band. But anyway.
Yeah. Alan, did you like the album?
Yeah, it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
7 Sabotage records made the top 500, but this was not one of them.
Dead Winter Dead. Dead Winter Dead. There it is. See, I own it, so I put my money where my mouth is. See that? This is the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is John Oliva still around?
Yes. Oliva, he's still around. He lives in my area. Well, not that close, but yeah, I could if I wanted. He's still around. He's, I think he's working on some other Sabotage kind of music, writing, doing things.
Good.
So, yeah.
All right. You guys ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure.
I find there's like a very 95 mood going on this show today.
What depressing?
Not yeah, it's depressing. I'm not feeling it. I don't know what it is. 95, we're all like downing it or something.
We're all depressed listening to the music today. So.
Yeah, listening to bands that wear cardigan sweaters.
All right, here we go. Okay, Alan, you want to intro this one?
Oh, you go ahead, Joe.
Oh, for God's sake. Ozzy Osbourne, Osmosis. Ozzy going grunge. What is this?
It's Ozzy at number 4.
Ozzy Perry Mason. I Want You, bringing in some writers, some outside writers like Jim Valance. To me, this album is it his best? But you can see on the fan polls that a lot of people like this album. Geezer Butler is playing on this album as well.
So is
The drummer.
Was it Wakeman?
Rick Wakeman does a guest appearance on one song, I believe. So there's a little bit of keyboards. Ozzy's kind of singing a little lower. Fits more in that grunge 1995 depressing mood. Some cool tracks. Is the whole album great? Not so much, but there's some really good songs like I Want You and Perry Mason, and I'm trying to think of the other ones. This is his 7th studio album. Oh, Dean Castrovano. Castronova.
No.
Drums on this.
Castronova.
Yeah,
from Journey.
Yes.
Early with Revolution Saints as well. Yeah, new album came out recently.
Yeah. So, Alan, thoughts?
Well, you're it's Ozzy, yeah. I mean, this is one that completely lost in the shuffle. But going back and listening to it, I'm glad you put it on the list. Like, gave me a chance to go listen to it.
You sure?
Is this Zach's playing guitar on this? I take it.
Yes, Zach's playing guitar.
So he's doing like I was there something like Old LA Tonight, and there's maybe seeds for Black Label Society in there. He's really got this kind of a bit of country feel, a country southern rock feel on that. He's playing with a lot of emotion, not just speed. So that was a pleasant surprise for me listening to this album. Ozzy's vocals, I think, some of his strongest. I don't know if he was sober at that time or not, but just that's what I took away from it.
The record charted number 4 on the U.S. Billboard 200.
Yeah. It did well.
Yeah, I mean, it had some big singles on it, and the production sounds killer. So it's not like some, I mean, Ozzy's not going to put out something that sounds like crap, but I mean, the production sounds big and full and rock. So it's nice to hear, especially when grunge is sounding all muddy and like they don't care.
Well, I mean, there is a darker element to this album that sort of fits in that grunge sort of sound. And Jess is saying Wakeman played on the whole album. I got it. Okay. I mean, I don't know if there's keyboards on every song, but sure. Okay. It sounded like, and 12 Pack is saying it sounded like all studio musicians to me. Could be. I think there's a list.
This says that the producer played most of the keyboards on the record, and Rick Wakeman played the mellotron on the songs Perry Mason and I Just Want You. So I don't know if where he's saying that Wakeman played all the keys, but maybe he knows something we don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I bought it at the time. I enjoyed the first 3 tracks. And then it's kind of like, the rest of it's all right. It's not the greatest album. I'm trying to think. I Just Want You, Ghost Behind My Eyes. Yeah, there's a lot of slow stuff. My Little Man. Tomorrow's good too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not his best. It's not his worst. And it's usually in the middle of the pack of the Ozzy catalog. People kind of like it because I guess Perry Mason is such a strong song. I think that's probably his best song on the album. And probably in that era. I just think it's a great song. I don't know, overall. I think it's exciting. Ozzy sounds alert. It's a great sort of sound, quality, guitar riff. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
And again, the fact that somebody from this rock metal genre is still kind of big and out there during this kind of dark period in rock and metal when everything was grungy and pop and rap and country and stuff, that somebody still is very huge and popular during that time is awesome.
He's navigating those waters in these hard times, right?
Big time.
He was like the only real metal guy left. Well, one of the few. Alan, can you think of anyone else? Iron Maiden, they're kind of like sinking, and Ozzy was kind of just holding steady. And Alice Cooper was around too, but overall, that's it. Alan?
Motorhead?
Well, there's a bunch. I mean, there's a bunch of bands that were still doing stuff, but
but not on that level. No,
not on that level.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 3. You guys ready for this? Bada boom.
Let me see who it is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Blind Guardian, all the way in Germany. Imaginations from the Other Side. And I think it's important to put this album here. I know, Alan, you probably don't think it's important enough to put this album here, but I think it's important because it says something about Germany. As the whole world was saying nay to metal or embracing grunge and industrial, Germany was cranking out the songs. They were cranking out the bands. And like I said at the beginning of the show, bands were going to Germany because it was still popular there. So bands kept writing music. And I think Blind Guardian, speed metal, speed power metal, European speed power metal, writing quality riffs, great singing. The vocals are still those power metal vocals. They're bringing something new to the mix. So they're starting their own little German power metal genre that they took from maybe Halloween and sort of, extended, let's say.
Carrying the heavy metal flag, like you said, they were probably leading the charge at that point in '95. And, Hansi agrees. A lot of fans think this is their strongest album overall. Hansi agrees with that in some articles I read. So, that's it. I think this is what we're getting into probably between 95 and 2000. And there's a few bands that really stuck to their guns, did what they did, and had some success, like you said, in the European market, whereas they might have been non-existent in the North American market. So,
they had the guts to come out with an album like this at that time, and said, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it."
But you know what? We're also looking at it from, well, you're Canadian, but from like an American, our perspective, not a European,
right?
Because if you have this convo with a European, they're going to be like, oh my God, they could tell you 50 records from 95 that they think are like probably the holy grail. We're talking about it from our environment here.
Yep.
And how we're experiencing this kind of music, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much that, and even American bands that are way more popular in Europe than they are in the United States. So maybe we're not seeing what that reception is like over there. So people have to keep in mind, this is maybe a slightly myopic viewpoint where we're coming from.
And let me add to that. So today we're so used to, okay, I'll go to YouTube, I'll listen to a new band or a band from somewhere else that my friend told me about. Back then, Napster kind of was starting, but it really wasn't. There was still CD sales. So if you did not have an album, nobody knew who you were. If you did not have the money to back your tour, you couldn't go on tour, right? And if you didn't have that support by the record label, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't get into magazines. You couldn't do nothing. So it was basically a standstill until Napster kind of came in and spread this music globally, in a sense, right?
Right.
So
and
that's
this person, Frank, if I'm saying it right, Frank. A North American outlook. That was what I should have said. Yes. So yes.
So don't us Canadians, we get really hurt. I know Alan is very sensitive.
Yeah, but
and okay, North America includes Mexico. Okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But you guys have bands like what was it? The
Tragically Hip.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah, that guy. There's a ton of people here that never heard of him, but that band was selling out, arenas, stadium, whatever. They're a huge band in Canada. So,
Yep. Oh yeah. Their last tour was all arena shows. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So on that note, I just want to say that this is a darker, angrier, a lot of multi-layers on the vocals, a lot of orchestrations. This is, if you ask the Blind Guardian fans, this is probably in their top 3 of the band's, their favorite albums.
And he's an amazing singer.
Oh yeah, Hansi's great.
And he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super nice guy. Super nice guy. Yeah.
It made the top 500, that's for sure.
There it is.
Wow.
What do you think, guys?
Redeem yourselves. I think it's a 300. I think it's a 300 band. Go ahead.
I'm going to go way higher because I've been wrong big time. So I'm going to go in the 60s.
Wait, don't say nothing, Alan. Todd said 60s. I said 300. Everybody out there who's watching, what do you think Blind Guardian Imagination from the Other Side? Give it a number. What do you think?
Top 500.
Top 500.
Of Martin Popoff's Bible,
yeah,
the top 500 heavy metal albums.
I don't even know if
I'm gonna
Martin knows we're doing this.
I'm gonna say 63.
I'm gonna say 303. I just like
Todd's got two numbers right.
242 says Ben.
Well, that means 30. Hold on. That means they're in the 30s. 36.
There's a 3-digit number ending in 63.
363.
163.
Yes.
That's pretty high.
Todd got it at 163 with a hint.
Wow.
Rain on Your Parade says 187. That's very close.
Oh, that was good. That was close. Yeah.
Finally, a good comment from him. Ooh.
All right, let's get to number 2.
All right, number 2. I'm going to do my warm up because now things are getting really
heated. Excited when
air conditioning's really on high in this basement.
His laptop starts tilting.
Yeah. Das is good.
I have not eaten. Okay, guys. I know this is controversial. I know people might hate me for this.
Yeah, but this band, hold on.
I don't care.
This band has the biggest production in rock or metal or pop or anything in the world right now. So,
Snell.
Take that, Shania Twain and Taylor Swift.
Rammstein, Herzenlight. I don't know how to pronounce it. Herzenlight.
Wiener Schnitzel.
Herzenlight. Rammstein.
Yeah.
What can you say about this band?
Dude, I never really got into when they started becoming popular here in the States. I was like kind of interested, do us that whole, but it has it has this kind of like kind of like a techno-y dance thing, which I never liked. And they're so big, dude. They're massive. And I think
they were here. Alan, like last summer? I think everybody in Montreal went. Yeah. They didn't play the arena. No. They played a park. And I put it at what? 300 people? 300,000 people were there? 250 maybe it's a little smaller. Massive. Like it was so loud you can hear it.
I think they could have
20 miles away.
Their pyrotechnics could have bombed a small country, I think.
Yeah.
So somebody here, I love the name Gyro Lamb.
Gyro Lamb. This is gyro and this is lamb. You put lamb and gyro.
So this says that Rammstein is so specific in sound that you have to like the vibe for sure or you'll hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but it's just very repetitive and it kind of has like I guess has that dance in so much of their songs, like the constant, they have distorted guitar and he sings like that, it's that deep vocal, but I don't know, after a while it's just very like simple.
But you know what? That beat and that kind of drive sort of appeals to a lot of people more.
It appeals
more
to
so than so you have like metal, like you have power metal here, and this
sure.
kind of appeals to a mass audience. So
I think
people don't even like heavy metal. Yeah,
but I think a lot of it's again goes back to that dance. Like, why do people listen to the music in the club that they like? Because it's got that, and then you just add heavy guitar of it, and then it's like you could just do that and then say some things
and throw and they're German lyrics. Like they have on occasion thrown in a couple of English choruses here and there, but they've stuck to their German roots, and that even brings another sort of dimension to their music, right? Industrial, dance, techno, crunchy guitars. And man, these guys are singing, and he's got a distinct tone, man. He's got a friggin' distinct tone.
I think it's super. I think it's simple music. It's palatable. They have a very. When you hear their music, you're like, okay, you know who that is. So I give them that. But
Firefly,
not my thing. Not my thing. But a lot of respect for their success, and they're doing what they do.
I know Alan loves Ramstein. I personally, I've always liked the band. So to me, it's like when I watch their shows on YouTube, I just the stage show is just, and it's, by the way, it's all the same guys from the early days. It's the same lineup, same guys, same guys are still in the band today. Their live show is probably one of the greatest live shows out there and in the history of sort of hard rock and metal.
Well, that's the thing. Listen, here, what's happened today with live shows. I had a discussion with Herman. He was at our dressing room from Dragon Force. He came out to one of our California show. We were talking about production and, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you guys working on? And just all this kind of stuff. And we were both saying that people now have literally come to the show to watch the show, and literally the songs and the music is secondary. And to me, I just cannot get on board with this. I don't want, so everybody's fighting for the bigger production. I don't give a flying fuck about video screens anymore, how big all this stuff can be, the biggest pyrotechnics. I don't care about any of that. Give me a backdrop, scrims, great songs, and let me watch the band members instead of looking at a movie on a screen that's 30, 40, 50 feet in the air.
Todd, I agree with you, but there's bands like Ramstein who just take it with the fire, and they just take it to another level where the music unites with the friggin' production, and you're just like in awe. You're like, what the hell did I just witness?
I understand it, and that's a separate conversation. What I'm saying is people now, it's all about the bigger production. Everybody's trying to outdo each other with the production. And unless you've got a shit ton of money, you're never going to compete with that. So then you go back to the basics and the roots and you go, great songs for me always win, because you could put me in front of a Walt Disney fireworks display with a band on stage, and if I don't like the songs, like Baby Metal or something like that, I'm not gonna like it. But if you
like
put
Baby Metal,
but
they're babies and they play metal.
Yeah, whatever.
They're babies and they play metal.
Sure,
I get it. You know what? I agree with you. It comes down to me, the songs.
It's like, yeah, they have. I mean, he's got those flamethrowers that are, it's like a peacock of fire. It's ridiculous. It's insane to look at, and it's mesmerizing. It's like, it's totally mind blowing. But if you took away, you should be able to take all that production away, and those songs will stand on their own without it. And so there's a lot of bands out there that you pull all, and I was saying Rammstein is one of them. I am not saying that. I'm saying there are a lot of bands. You pull all the glitz and glitter and all the fancy bullshit, take it away, and you're left with not great songs, not great musicianship. There's not a whole lot there. They rely on all this eye candy and all this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I like Tanvir's comment the best. I listen to Rammstein and I get the urge to attack Poland. I just want to throw a chair. I don't know about attacking a country, but I want to throw a chair maybe. It just brings out the beast.
I just want to throw in, since you asked me my opinion on this album.
Go ahead.
I just want to let you know, our good friend Stiff Rod is a huge, huge Rammstein fan.
It's good old Stiff Rod. Todd, you met Stiff Rod.
Even though I don't understand any of the lyrics, he's got all their albums, and he's I think they're these.
He's probably saying like, Americans suck and you're an asshole for listening to us. And the guy's like, yeah, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
Give us your money. Give us your money.
They're from East Germany, right? Think about their background and where they grew up. And they grew up in a communist, behind the Iron Curtain. And, they developed their sound behind the Iron Curtain. So there is something special about the band from all angles: sound, music, their culture. So, and keeping that German language.
We're talking 1995, Jim.
We're talking 1995, Alan. Right. Yeah,
so,
we're talking 1995, Alan.
All right, let's get to number one.
Hey, hold on. Oh. So this person, Ben, who I know, Hi, Ben.
Ben Larry.
Says Blabbermouth headline: Todd Latoria attacks Ramstein Productions. Songs are lame. Like he's making a joke about.
Tomorrow.
So I never said that the band was lame. I said I have great respect. This is not for Ben. This is for if Blabbermouth wants to comb through this interview and try and fuck me on a yellow press headline straight from the horse's mouth. I think they're great. Not my particular cup of tea musically, but they're amazing at what they do, and they're crushing everybody right now, production wise, and forget about it. You know, they've
tomorrow's
had more
headline. Tomorrow's headline. Todd Latory says Rammstein is not my cup of tea.
You know what? You can't win for losing.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Actually, they've been Blabbermouth's been doing me right. Good. Not taking my things out of context, correcting things when it was misleading. Good. So I would say thank you to Blabbermouth for being cool and not doing that to me. They've been doing me really honest for a while now, and I appreciate that.
That's good.
Feeling the love. Feeling the love.
That's good. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're ready, Alan? I know you are. Your stomach is grumbling.
Yeah, I was ready 40 minutes ago.
Number one. Let me find number one.
Yeah, I got some feta to get to, so let's wrap this thing up.
Number one, a very controversial choice. People might hate us for this, but
it's your list.
It's not controversial.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Burnt Offerings.
Hey,
yeah, we can get into the political stuff.
Here's another band that was carrying the heavy metal flag in '95. So.
Yes.
Hey, were they on Capitol Records?
Nothing. Okay.
Hey, this is the first record with Barlow.
Yes.
The cover's sick. The artwork
cover is sick. I'll put it back up there.
The artwork.
It is. Look at the little people in the top.
I think
in the top right, and you got
that album cover sums up 1995.
It does. Burnt Offerings.
Wow. And you know what? There's some backing. There's like some elements of a backing vocal that kind of remind me of like a King Diamond.
Hey, now we're talking.
No, there's like some. How would I explain this?
You've got his interest. You said King Diamond.
No, there's some evil happening.
There's some like faint. Yeah, there's like some vocal things in the background that are happening that are kind of like spooky and kind of King Diamond-ish. And there's a ton of musicality. And what can you say about the Schaefer's picking? I mean, nobody picks metal as perfectly and accurately with that that kind of thing. Nobody does it better than John Schaefer. He can do that for a whole show, and it's mind-blowing. If anyone's ever tried to just do one of those picking patterns slowly and then try to get it fast and clean, I mean, yeah, this was a special sound happening, and of course, getting the new vocalist who would become their most revered singer of their career, I think.
And a great guy.
Yeah. Super good
guy. He's awesome. Totally nice guy. And
look, they were carrying the flag for America in metal. They were doing the epic stuff. They were saying, you know what? I don't care if metal's out of fashion. We're going to do this. Barlow kind of sounded like Paul Stanley a little bit, but he's got that deep, dark voice, man. He could still those crazy highs, man. Jeez, man, this guy can sing. Burnt Offerings, last December. And then you have the epic Dante's Inferno, which is a descending into hell, which is just, I don't know. To me, it summarizes heavy metal in 1995, but quality heavy metal in 1995. It's dark, it's brutal, and you still got those power metal vocals there.
But they also have like, a band like that versus say Anthrax is like they would get into these kind of ballady sounds with clean guitar. Anthrax, I don't even know if they ever wrote a ballad, but
yeah, they did.
Really? What is it?
Kind of it. Off of Sound of White Noise, Black Lodge. Is that in it? Black Lodge?
Well, you know what I mean.
Kind of, but not a power ballad, a slow song.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I guess because they're not like Iced Earth isn't like a thrash band, right? They're a power metal band that has thrash in it, though. Yes, they're not, right? They're kind of a blend, but you hear like all of these peaks and valleys throughout these songs that were like, okay, yeah, for 1995, this was something,
Spiritual Brothers through Blind Guardian at that time. Those are the two bands that really stood out for me in that era. So,
yeah, I mean, look, they were carrying the metal flag, like I said. When you think about it, it was tough to get a record deal back then. It was tough to get an audience. It was tough to get your music out there. But they were going there, carrying that metal flag. And Barlow, man, he just, what an outstanding. He kept getting better and better throughout each album. And this is kind of his introduction. Actually, it was the albums before he re-recorded, but this was his first official studio album. And if you notice the progression, he keeps just getting better and better as a vocalist, and fits more better in the band. Iced Earth is what Iron Maiden should have done on Burnt Offerings. That's where they should have headed. It just feels more united, where X Factor seems like sort of like broken little pieces here and there. Some great music, but little bit of, I wouldn't call it filler, but maybe not, a little bit directionless in a sense.
So 3 Iced Earth albums made the top 500, and this was not one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So this isn't even in the book.
No.
Jeez, but it's in our book.
That's okay.
It's in our top 10 here on the Metal Voice #1.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jimmy K.
When was that book? When did that book come out?
1994.
Yeah, let's see.
No, not too long. What, a few years ago?
Yeah, for quite a long time ago, actually.
So he needs to update it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. It's published 2004.
2004. Oh, that's a lot.
2004, and we got Fear Factory at number 81 in 95.
So that's almost 20 years old.
Oh yeah, he's got to update it. We need a new version of that.
Martin, are you listening?
Martin doesn't even know we do the shows. Okay, I will recap the top 10, and Alan, you just throw out some of the honorable mentions, okay?
Oh, by the way.
Fear Factory, yes.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Fear Factory, Demanufacture, number 10. Down, NOLA, number 9. Iron Maiden, X Factor, number 8. Anthrax, Stomp 442. Number 7, White Zombie, Astro Creep. 6, Sabotage, Dead Winter Dead. Number 5, Ozzy Osmosis. Number 4, Blind Guardian, Imaginations from the Other Side. Number 3. Number 2, Rammstein, Herzlerd. And number 1, Iced Earth, Burnt Offerings. Not because it charted, not because it was the greatest album ever made. It was because in that period, that was classic heavy metal.
Yeah.
With, just some great songs. And it represented an era. Critically acclaimed. Okay. Sorry, Todd, what you were saying?
Oh, well, you were going to do the honorable mentions, so I just...
Okay, go ahead, Alan. I know you have a few.
I got, I liked Riot, Brethren of the Longhouse. I thought that was something different for them. That's basically it. Oh, there was Meshuggah. Meshuggah was good.
Some people had said Paradise Lost, Opeth. Somebody said Demons and Wizards. But there's a ton of stuff out there that
Tomorrow's headline, Tanvir says, is Todd says Martin Popoff is out of date.
That's not. Somebody said that I want to invade Poland after listening to Rammstein. Dude, people are got to be careful. They're going to get me in trouble, and I didn't even do anything. I'm so taken out of Listen, I have no problem.
Here it is. Todd wants to attack Poland after listening to Rammstein.
Oh man,
clickbait.
That's
Alan likes Meshuggah. I like that. Alan likes Meshuggah.
That was a huge album for that year.
Okay. All right. Guys, I guess on that note,
somebody said a change of seasons.
Dream Theater.
That's an EP, right?
Did they put a record out in '95?
Wasn't that a lot of cover songs? Did they do cover songs on that? I can't remember.
No, I think that was an EP. And
it's still a record.
Yeah, it's still a record, but it's an EP. It's a short record.
Well, good suggestion, just to make our list.
So, and just to close things off, Todd Torre is working on his second studio album.
Yeah, solo.
I think it's going to be called Attack of Poland.
I was just thinking the wheels are turning in my head on these funny things, how people are creating their own new headlines.
You quit smoking, right?
Dude, tomorrow is 5 months.
Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Look at that.
Thanks.
Nice.
Haven't had one. So yeah.
Do you go to sleep at night and dream of smoking a cigarette? Do you have that dream? I have that dream still after 20 something years.
No, but like if I'm watching a movie or TV and they it's like, just, yeah, I love smoking, but I haven't smoked in 5 months. So like I say, I never say I'm never going to smoke again. I say today I'm not smoking. And so I don't buy a pack. I don't want to buy a pack. And, so yeah, it's just like one day at a time.
Here's a new headline.
Hold on.
I'm doing the same thing with cookies.
So if I'm singing like shit, nobody can go, oh, it's because he's a smoker.
That's right.
Some of my best singing was literally putting a cigarette out right next to Michael behind the scrims and going out and just singing my ass off. So
here's another headline. Angry from quitting smoking, Todd wants to destroy Poland.
Todd blames Poland for cigarette habit.
I wonder if there's anybody from Poland watching. Oh, look, Morbid Angel.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Morbid Angel, Domination and Decides, Once Upon a Time, The Cross, 1995. And that's what? Acid Red Devil. He gave $6.99. Look at that. Canadian.
Somebody
that's
asked
$2 American.
Somebody ever asked would I ever quit feta? No. So you got to understand, this is a Greek household.
Yes.
I have olive oil in a container. Hold on, just to show your listeners.
Okay.
Our viewers and listeners.
Stand by.
Metal Boys.
Stand by. Maybe I should get my feta and we should compare.
Health section of the show where Todd goes and explains the benefits of olive oil to our viewers.
Headline.
All right, you want to see something? You want to see something nuts? You see this big ass container?
Of course, that's the way you got to buy it.
There's a pump on the top. This is olive oil from my mother and father-in-law's property in Sparta.
There you go.
When my bottle our bottle, not my bottle, gets empty, I take this and I use the pump and I fill the bottle up. This is all legit virgin olive oil from my wife's family's for their property there, one of their properties. And we get crates shipped to our house every 3 months of probably, dude, I have so many olives, different kinds of Greek olives they send. We had tomatoes that her mom sends. Mm-hmm. And we have, I bet you 20 kilos of just feta every time. Like we have pounds and pounds of legit feta and all kinds of Greek stuff that you can, that you even here with like imported stuff that you can't, you just can't really get. So somebody was asking, would I ever quit feta? No. Feta.
I love feta. I got minced feta upstairs.
Feta makes everything better.
Of course, feta makes everything better. And on that note, Todd leaves Queensrÿche and starts freebasing feta on tomorrow's Blabbermouth headline.
In Poland.
DLT, quit smoking, no
feta
bird offerings.
Okay, guys, speaking of feta, I got this
That's
shredded feta upstairs. So
It's been real.
It's been
Is
real.
it real?
Guys.
We'll try to get through 1996.
I don't know what it looks like.
Jimmy will let us know.
I'll let you guys know what the list is. Thank you, everybody. And Andrew, thank you very much. I know it was Andrew who sent that. Thank you. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.
Stay well. I hope your voice gets better, Todd.
And yes, Denise, I will park your car anytime.
Anytime.
All right. Y'all have a good night, and I'll talk